Mr. President, yesterday I came down to the floor to discuss the importance of military preparedness to our national security. The most basic requirement of national security is a strong military, but it is not the only requirement. Maintaining our nation's strength and our ability to deter threats and discourage our enemies from tangling with us also involves things like a strong economy, energy security, and border security. And today I want to spend a few minutes talking about border security. Mr. President, border security is an essential part of keeping our nation secure. Porous borders are an invitation to criminals, terrorists, and other dangerous individuals. And let's be very clear, there are dangerous individuals out there right now who would like to enter and harm our country. Porous borders are an invitation to those types of individuals. Since the beginning of the month, 4 Iranians considered to be special interest aliens, individuals, that is, who may pose a threat to the United States, have been apprehended at the southern border in Texas. Now, all told, thousands of special interest aliens, a number of them from Middle Eastern countries, have been apprehended at our southern border over the past 2 years. During fiscal year 2023, 151 individuals on the terrorist watch list were apprehended attempting to illegally cross our southern border. 151. As a result, or I should say, as a recent news story noted, and I quote, "That figure is more than the total of the previous 6 years combined," end quote. That same story also notes, and I quote, "In the first 2 weeks of the fiscal year, the CBP sources told Fox News that agents have apprehended more than 30 Iranians, nearly 60 Syrians, 35 Pakistanis, more than 100 Russians, 285 Afghans, and nearly 2,000 Chinese migrants at the southern border." More than 30 Iranians, nearly 60 Syrians, 35 Pakistanis, more than 100 Russians, 285 Afghans, and nearly 2,000 Chinese migrants at the southern border. Now, Mr. President, it's likely that many of those individuals are simply in search of the promise the United States offers of a better life. But it is also entirely possible that some of these individuals, some of them from intensely hostile countries like Iran, had more malign intentions. And Mr. President, while Customs and Border Protection apprehended the individuals I've mentioned so far, it is not only possible, but likely, that similarly concerning individuals have entered our country undetected. Since President Biden took office, there have been more than 1.5 million known gotaways at the southern border. Those are individuals the Border Patrol saw, but was unable to apprehend. And we can only imagine the number of unknown gotaways who have sneaked into the country. Those are people that they didn't see. They have no idea. How many of those individuals are from hostile countries or are on the terrorist watch list? Or members of cartels that target literally every state in the Union and are fueling the fentanyl epidemic? The truth of the matter is, Mr. President, we just don't know. But it's a good bet that among the gotaways were dangerous individuals who should not be entering our country. Now, Mr. President, I don't need to tell anyone that the situation at our southern border right now is disastrous. All signs point to fiscal year 2023 being the 3rd record-breaking year of attempted illegal crossings at the southern border under the Biden administration's watch. The number of attempted illegal crossings at the southern border last month alone has been estimated to be somewhere in the range of 270,000 people, which would make it the highest monthly number ever recorded. Customs and Border Protection is overstretched, to put it mildly, and has been for pretty much the entirety of the Biden administration. We could scarcely be sending a more welcoming signal to criminals, terrorists, and other dangerous individuals if we put out a welcome mat. Why wouldn't dangerous individuals like this take advantage of the chaos at the border to slip into our country undetected? Mr. President, the director of the FBI recently warned of copycat attacks in the United States after Hamas's deadly attack on Israel. And a September threat assessment from the Department of Homeland Security noted, and I quote, "Terrorists and criminal actors may exploit the elevated flow of migration and increasingly complex security environment to enter the United States," end quote. If we want to keep our country secure, we're going to have to get the situation at our southern border under control now. I'm glad that President Biden has finally conceded that a border wall is part of the solution. But it must be backed up with a willingness to fully enforce our laws. Mr. President, in the coming weeks, I expect that we're going to take up a supplemental spending bill to address support for our allies and to provide additional funding that our military may need. I hope and will work to ensure that that legislation also includes measures to help secure our southern border. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. If we don't get national security right, the rest is conversation. And securing our border is an indispensable part of national security. The terrorist attack on Israel on October 7 should be all the reminder we need of the importance of being constantly on guard against those who would seek to enter our nation and to do us harm. And I hope that in the wake of this attack, President Biden and congressional Democrats will join Republicans to make both strengthening our military and securing our border a priority. Mr. President, I yield the floor